Hola clase, hoy vamos a aprender las preguntas ¿cuánto cuesta? Y ¿cuánto cuestan? So we need to know when to use each form of the verb costar. And the verb costar is a cognate, meaning to cost. So when you want to know how much one thing costs, you would say cuánto cuesta. That's the singular version of the verb costar. If you want to know how much multiple things cost, you would use cuánto cuestan. So the difference is really the A versus the AN. So take a second now, see if you could practice numbers 1 through 5, and if the noun that you're talking about is singular, you should use a singular version, and if it's plural, you should use the plural version. So pause the video and then do the work, and when you're done, you can check it by pressing play. Okay, so you should have gotten the answers for numbers 1 through 5. So we're going to now check our work. Okay, so if you have cuánto blank la calculadora, you should notice that la calculadora is singular, so you'd need the singular cuesta. Okay, the second one, cuánto blank los libros. Los libros, they're plural, so you'd need cuestan. For las plumas, those are plural, so again, cuestan. El lápiz is singular, so it's cuesta. And la silla is singular, so it's cuesta. Okay, so all of these, you should check your work, make sure that you have the correct answer. So now we're going to go on to see some very important vocabulary. Some of them we already went over. For example, the store clerk, el or la dependiente. The client or the customer, el or la cliente. And if you want to ask how much something costs, cuánto, we know how much is cuánto, and now you know that cuesta is cost, so cuánto cuesta, you put it together, and you have your whole question. If you want to ask if they have these items, you would use the verb tener. Like when we say cuántos años tienes, we're using like how many years do you have? You don't say it that way though in English, you just say how old are you? So the verb tener is used as to have. So in order to say do you have, you would say tiene for the usted form, or tienes is the informal to form. You need to know your numbers, which we already did in class. So if you want to go back and review those, you can go to the page before and look them over. And you have to remember that un is the number one you're going to use when talking about how much something costs. You have some currency here. Dólares would be dollars. Dólar would be for $1. And then centavos would be cents. And obviously, if you're going to be in a different country, the currency would be different. So for example, in España, they would be euros or un euro. Okay, so that would be a different symbol on its own, and it looks something like this. So if you're ever in Spain, you'd know that it's a little different. Obviously, the currency that's used there kind of has looks like an E with little lines through it. So if you see that symbol, know that it's not dollars, but it's euros or euros. Okay, so we're going to do activity 1. You're going to practice using the verb costar correctly like we did before by asking how much each item costs and then write the response that the store clerk would give you. So for example, if I say this pencil, for example, is $1. Okay, so it's a dollar. ¿Cuánto cuesta el lápiz? Okay, ¿cuánto cuesta el lápiz? And you would say, oh, the pencil costs $1. The way that you would say it in Spanish would be el lápiz cuesta $1. Okay, so first the verb and then the amount of money it would cost. So let's look on the next one. Pregunta. ¿Cuánto cuesta la goma? Okay, and on your sheet you have that blank. So I just told you it would be cuesta. So you should think to yourself, why would it be cuesta and not cuestan? And the reason is because your noun that you're talking about is singular, all right? So you should remember that cuesta goes with singular item. So, ¿cuánto cuesta la goma? Well, the price I gave you on your packet is $1.50. So how would you say that? You would say, now you would use that same verb that you used before, And you could say cuesta $1.50. And some people would say centavos, but you don't really need it. So $1.50. So now you're on your own. Let's see if you can do that whole thing by yourself. So you know the price point, you know what you're asking about, which is this class material. So see if you could use the models to first form the question that you would ask the sales clerk, and then think of what the sales clerk would answer you. So pause the video, and then we'll go over it. Okay, so when you unpause the video, here's the answer. ¿Cuánto cuesta el bolígrafo? So that's the class material you're asking for. And then the response from the sales clerk would be, El bolígrafo cuesta $2. And you don't really even need to say el bolígrafo. The store clerk might just say, cuesta $2. And notice cuesta because you're talking about one item. So let's go to the next few. Okay, pause the video and do the rest by yourself now. And when you're ready to check your work, press play again, and you'll see the answers. Okay, so if you are checking your work now, you have el cuaderno. So el cuaderno is your subject here that you're talking about. So you would ask yourself, how much is it? Okay, so oops, cuánto cuesta el cuaderno. And if you want to get fancy and add color, that's even better because now you're practicing adjective agreement. So el cuaderno is masculine, so you could say el cuaderno rojo. And notice, don't forget your punctuation before and after the question. So, ¿cuánto cuesta el cuaderno rojo? Now, the sales clerk would answer you, el cuaderno rojo cuesta, and now the money. So, cuatro, careful how you spell cuatro, dólares, 89 centavos, if you wanted to say like the amount of cents. So cuesta $4 con 89 centavos. Some people say con. Some people don't even say the centavos, so it really depends on what country you're going to. But as long as you have cuesta $4 89, you're good. Okay, the rest is just like you can add to that. All right, so the next one, 26.75, and you have the backpack. So hopefully you put cuánto cuesta. Okay, so cuánto, don't forget your accent on your A. ¿Cuánto cuesta la mochila? And remember, mochila is feminine. So if you wanted to give it a color, whatever color you chose would have been feminine as well. Okay, so ¿cuánto cuesta la mochila? The sales clerk would say, la mochila cuesta 26. And you could do this if you want. 75. So $26. Con 70, and careful between 70 and 60. 70 with T is 70. 75 centavos. And there's many ways, obviously, to write your numbers, so whatever way you chose, just check it with the page where you have all the numbers. And then the last one, now you have a really expensive purchase, la computadora. So you could ask, ¿cuánto cuesta? Again, all of this is cuesta because you're just talking about one item. La computadora. Okay, and then the response from the sales clerk could be cuesta. Now look at this. This is hard because it's a bigger number. So you'd have to say 3,000, and be careful, mil is thousand. So when you get to that 3, in English we have a comma, but in Spanish they would have had a period. You would stop and you'd say, okay, let me say that number, 3,000. Then what's left? You have 200 left. So 3,000, and then you say the 200, $200. Okay, cuesta $3,200. So check your work, see if you had that. And now in the packet, you have a different type of activity here. So if you want to practice with this activity now, you're going to just be looking at the materials for the class, and you're going to see if you can say what price I'm giving. Okay, so pause the video now. And where did my recorder go? Here here it is. Okay, let me pause the video. Okay, so I'm going to say how much each of these items costs in the video, and you're going to write down what you hear. That's the new activity that we're going to do since you're at home. So for number one, I will say it, and then when you understand what it is, write it down. If you need to pause the video and replay it, you can do that too. So you can listen to it as many times as you want. Just write down the numeral and the dollar sign. You don't need to write out the words. Okay, so listen carefully. I'll say each one twice and then move on to the next one. So, número uno. Cuesta $5. Cuesta $5. Número 2. Cuesta $3 con 10 centavos. Cuesta $3 con 10 centavos. Número 3. Cuesta $1.50. Cuesta $1.50. Número 4. Cuestan $6. Cuestan $6. Número 5. Cuesta 60 centavos. Cuesta 60 centavos. Número 6. Cuesta 49 centavos. Cuesta 49 centavos. Número 7. Cuesta 27.99. Cuesta 27.99. Número 8. Cuesta $2 con 75 centavos. Cuesta $2 con 75 centavos. Número 9. Cuesta $59 con 65 centavos. Cuesta $59 con 65 centavos. Número 10. Cuesta $7. Cuesta $7. Número 11. Cuestan 89.99. Cuestan 89.99. Número 12. Cuesta $15. Cuesta $15. Número 13. Cuestan $4. Cuestan $4. Número 14. Cuesta $5.94. Cuesta $5.94. 15. Cuesta $3.000 $481. Okay, so I made the mistake. I put the dollar is first, so listen to that one again. Cuesta $3.481. Cuesta $3.481. Okay, number 16. Cuesta $90. Cuesta $90. And the last one, 17, 17, cuesta $599. Okay, so try those out, see if you need to replay any of them, and then check your work by pressing pause first, and then make sure you have everything, and then press play, and you're going to see the answers in a few seconds. Okay, so here are the answers, and hopefully you were able to hear some of these. I said them a little differently in all the different times, just so you hear how the different ways of saying them go, but hopefully you were able to understand the key numbers. And take a second now, pause the video, and check your work. Okay, so that's the end of this little lesson. Hopefully your objective of being able to use cuesta and cuestan, that you met that. If not, go back and replay the video. You should be able to ask how much something costs, and you should be able to answer how much something costs by using all the numbers vocab, the school materials vocabulary, and also the question words cuánto and the verb costar, which in this form would be cuesta. Okay, so if you need more help, that's what the video is for. So keep playing it until you've got it. All right, see you next time in class. Bye.